All right, sup nerds. I'm here. I saw y'all's poll. I asked which one y'all would rather, which one blah, 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 blah. Asked y'all which y'all would rather see me rank. I had the COD games, all seasons of The Walking Dead. Don't remember that one other option, but then there was this one. Every MCU project up to this point, from Iron Man up to Fantastic Four, including shows, movies, specials, all the great jizz. I'm here. We're going to do it. We're going to talk about it. And this video is going to be a bajillion hours long. But, A, we here. We doing it. Love the MCU. Overall, anyways. So let's get it. The tier lists I have, they don't have them in order. I think they have them like by like franchise, quote unquote, So that being said, our tiers over here, we got Spectacular, Avenger, pretty solid, doesn't deserve the hate it has, does deserve the hate it has, and then haven't seen. Because, yes, there are a couple of things on here that I haven't seen. And one of them is specifically is very important that I need to watch. I just haven't. Update device. I don't want to. Not right now. But to start us off, we have Ant Man. Ant Man's a fun movie. All right, I know it took him like 10 years to finally make this film. That other guy was on it for like 10 years. Not 10 years, but I can't think of his name. But eventually he changed it because he didn't like the fact that Ant Man was now in a universe and had to relate, blah, 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 blah. Don't care. I like this movie. This is a fun movie. My opinion, this is the best of the Ant Man movies. It's just a fun, simple heist movie, but there's super uh, powers or whatever, and it's in a greater universe, right? So there's like all these nods to other things, and it's just fun. Paul Rudd, excellent Ant Man. He's plays excellent with Scott Lang. Michael Douglas, excellent as Hank Pym. The actress that plays Hope, can't think of her name, but she's pretty good, right? Um, Everything, even Scott's entourage, his little criminal gang of misfits, right? Pretty awesome. And at the end of the day, this is just a story of him trying to get back his daughter, right? Not get back his daughter, but to like make good on things, and it's just like this heartwarming stuff. And that epic battle at the end was pretty awesome, right? It was so small scale with the toy train and the ants and him learning to just be Ant Man, and was awesome. Loved it. Awesome movie. It's not perfect. Don't care for Yellow Jacket, dude. Not great. Just he's like a knockoff of the villain in Iron Man 3, kind of. He's scorned by Hank Pym, right? That's all he was. I can't even think of his real name. Whatever it was. Um, he's kind of like the enemy in the third Iron Man, in which he was just scorned by Tony Stark. Blah blah blah. We'll get to that later. But this movie, it's all right. It's pretty solid, and they even hinted at like the quantum realm, right, for the future. Now, shut the fuck up. Am I still recording? Yeah, that's all I care about. All right, Ant Man and the Wasp, second one, not as great. I do believe that's a general consensus. It's not as good as the first one. It's I don't know what it was. The action is still the same, if not better. Wasp, she's flying around. She's even got blasters. Pew pew pew. We still have the criminal gang of misfits. Are pretty awesome there. Um. Just didn't like this one as much. Ghost was fine. She becomes a better character later in Thunderbolts. Now, I mean, not like a lot better, but at least a little bit more relation to him. We find out we meet Michael Douglas's character, Hank Pym's old partner, who helped with the Pym particles and stuff. A lot of the humor didn't land in this one like it did in the first one. I don't know what it was. Just didn't land as well. So, for that being said, um, Set it there. It also doesn't make a lot of sense for like the old friend of Hank Pym to basically be like the villain in this movie. But I do think it sets up for Avengers Endgame very well. That post credit scene was pretty sick. It shows us how he was stuck in the quantum realm for 5 years as Hank Pym and is it Hope was like dusted. Oh, and Hope's mom. They were all dusted. Um, yeah, but this movie, Quantumania, definitely deserves the hate it gets. This movie, talk about an MCU project that they built up to be like this big thing, this big movie that it's gonna like drive the multiverse saga forward to mean to just fall to mean nothing because of what happened to Jonathan Majors, and why he had to leave or why he was fired. Actually, he might have not. He might have, he might have been acquitted or what the fuck ever happened to his criminal charges, but he had to get got and get out of there. And Marvel Studios obviously had to pivot from Kang as the big bad guy in the future to now Doctor Doom. Um, But so it's a movie that really just means nothing. Like nothing in it is really that important, right? And you're trying to build Kang as the next bad guy. Why is he a villain of an Ant-Man movie? That makes no sense. This is a guy who's destroyed Lords know how many versions of the Avengers and other universes and whatnot. That's Thor, Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Hulk, at Sentry, maybe. All these different versions of characters and heroes out there, and he loses to Ant Man and an army of ants. Do you understand what I'm saying? This guy's supposed to be the next Thanos. He was supposed to be better than Thanos, and he loses to Ant Man. Not only that, I don't know. Michael Douglas and the actress that plays Hope's mom, their hearts just didn't seem into it. A lot of the CGI wasn't that great. Uh, the return of Yellow Jacket as what the fuck is his name? Oh, that's gonna anger me. I can't remember his name. I don't know. Modoc. Modoc. Don't care for that. I mean, cool to see Modoc on screen, I guess. That's it. A lot of the CGI things of the quantum realm was very weird. It was like a Star Wars movie or something. Um, but yeah, movie that just doesn't. It deserves a hate. It does not. Mm-mm. We could literally just erase that from the MCU and nothing changes. Uh, but anyways, we get on to much better films as the Avengers did it. Could we Okay, hang on a minute. It just solid, guys. I'm just kidding. It's fucking good. Joss Whedon did it. And you gotta think this is a time where team up superhero movies didn't really happen. Yeah, we had the X-Men movies, right? But they weren't this. They weren't like this splash hit where you've had multiple movies up to that point introducing characters that will then form a team. They were just always a team from the first movie. And I'm not saying their movies are bad or anything. Some are. But this is completely different. Everything worked well. The street level groundedness of Iron Man meshed very well, surprisingly, with the cosmic god that is Thor, right? Captain America, the Archer, the Spy, the Green Goliath, all of it just worked really good, along with Shield, Nick Fury, all of it. It was perfect. They did it. They did what Avengers needed to be. It was witty, it was funny, it was action packed, and it had an excellent villain in Loki. It was the perfect villain for this. And it all comes down with the epic battle in New York City. The Battle of New York City with the Chitauri. Um, Loki gets beaten, blah blah blah. It was just excellent. And they set up Thanos, right? Just with a little tease at the very end. Played by someone that's not named Josh Brolin, but hey, you win some, you lose some. Um, it was excellent. Joss Whedon figured it out, and it was awesome. Now, Ultron, Age of Ultron, a bit of a downgrade, but I do think it gets a lot of hate, uh, and I see why. It is a downgrade. Um, I still think it's a solid movie. Truly. Mm, I'll put it in here for now, but but I might move it down later. But for now, that's where I'm putting it. So it's something that's always had a problem is that like they try to fit way too much into one movie, right? They're setting up the future, right? Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame. They're setting all that up, right? But it's like they're not taking enough time on what they're doing now, right? You're introducing the twins, Wanda and Quicksilver. Glad what they did with Wanda. Hate what they did with Quicksilver. Pietro. That was stupid. He is a speedster. What speedster dies to bullets? I don't care if there was 50 of them around him. He is a speedster. That is his power. That is his thing. He runs fast. He reacts to things quickly. Why is he being killed by bullets? Makes no sense to me. Um, and then Ultron, he's it's polarizing. Truly, it's because when he's like this little weak robot, like when he first showed up, and he like quote unquote killed Jarvis, and he takes the form of one of Tony's old Iron Man suits. That was like, I like that. That's a villain. That what he was talking, the way he was saying it, great. It's later though when he's like indestructible with the vibranium, and I don't know. It's just not. It's not the same. It's not the same guy. However, we could do an introduction to Vision. Great. Um, they do hint at Wakanda in the Black Panther, right? Things to come. Cool. The visions for the future, right? Um, an Infinity Stone is involved, right? The Mind Stone. Um, and the banter between the Avengers is there too, right? But I do think something that's going to hold this down is that this movie actually became the movie that me and my friends, when they would come over to spend the night or whatever, this is the movie we would go to sleep to. Yeah. I always thought Thor felt a little out of place in this movie. I don't know why. He just didn't mesh as well in this movie as he did with the other three Avengers films. Don't really know why that is. Uh, They did set up Thor Ragnarok pretty well with the ending with the Hulk flying off or whatever. Um, yeah, actually, no, I'm gonna move it down. I'm gonna move it down. It's pretty solid. It's still a good movie. Still made over $1 billion at the box office. It sets up Thanos and future things well. I just think it almost focused a little too much on it. Kind of like with the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie, where they're focusing way too much. Not that bad, but a little too much, and they really should have just focused on everything that what they were working on. Uh, Infinity War, you're a beautiful, beautiful spectacle. I love this movie. Love this movie, bro. Everything about it. I truly cannot think of like. Of course, this starts with um the downfall of Bruce Banner and the Hawk's character, right? It's the yeah falling into that, right? I just don't really care for that. What they've done with him, most people don't. But we can't even really use that here because it's just the start. We haven't seen what's to come from it. Of course, all the banter and stuff is there. The action is there. Everything is awesome. Seeing these heroes interact with each other for the first time was they're just awesome. Like Iron Man and Doctor Strange. The only thing they missed out was Strange or Tony Stark being like, "No shit, Sherlock," because they both played Sherlock Holmes. That's the one thing they missed, bro. You could have like that would have been epic. uh, and then the ending is gut wrenching with all of them being dusted at the end. I mean, this movie truly. I mean, with Peter Parker being dusted, that was completely improv on Tom Holland's part, and it was beautiful. It was gut wrenching. It puts a lump in my throat every time because he's just like a boy who just doesn't want to die. He is a boy who doesn't want to go, and it is beautiful. And um, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, and this movie isn't really an Avengers movie. They could have renamed this movie to Thanos, and because that's what this was. This was an origin story for Thanos and Gamora, and we get to see his side of things and why he's doing this, why he wants to do this. His resources are finite. Why he wouldn't just make more resources instead of destroying half of the universe? I don't know, but I don't know. Dude likes genocides, I guess. He's a villain. He's the MCU's greatest villain, in my opinion, up to this point. We'll see how Doctor Doom does, right? But it's a perfect movie. And Endgame, dude, right there with it. Honestly, I always prefer Infinity War over Endgame, but you can't deny just how awesome and epic Endgame truly is. It is the end, is the culmination of the first three phases. Arcs get wrapped up. Tony Stark and Steve Rogers get beautiful send offs. He gets to finish his arc from Tony Stark gets to finish his arc of being a true hero, making a sacrifice play. I Love You 3000. It took over the world there for a little while. Not as well as America's Ass. Uh, that's America's Ass. It's so good. The fight choreographies and the action, the CGI is excellent. Everything about this movie so good. There's a lot going on. Some heroes don't get limelight, but I do think a lot of them get their moments, right? A lot of them get their moments. Most of them do, right? Um, Even Captain Marvel, who only briefly showed up. This is my favorite version of Captain Marvel. This is my favorite performance. For my favorite time seeing Captain Marvel was in this movie. Every other time she showed up, haven't really cared for her. uh, but she shows up and it's like a turn in the battlefield or whatever, right? Um, Wanda Maximoff, you truly get to see her like this is like the start of her arc where she's vengeful, right? So good, dude. It's so good. Where are we at? Black Panther, brother. This is the only MCU movie that got nominated for like best what was it, best picture or something? And I don't know. Movie's excellent. Love this movie. Love this movie. It is a bit overhyped, but it's an excellent movie. The fight choreography, the Killmonger is a fantastic villain. Uh Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, dude. Truly, you're just a fantastic pick to play T'Challa. Excellent. A lot of things were really good about this movie. Wakanda is beautiful and just awesome that the world doesn't know that this place exists. And everything about this movie up until the third act is just breathtakingly awesome. Um, the third act gets a little CGI heavy and it doesn't necessarily look that great, but you can't take away from the overall performance. This guy's going into Avenger. It made over $1 billion at the box office as well. It deserves its flowers. Um, I am going through this kind of quickly because if I don't, we'll be sitting here for 2 hours, and I don't think my laptop will survive that. But anyways, it goes there. It is beautiful, and it sets up for Infinity War, pretty good as well. Moving on, Wakanda Forever. This movie, bro. Oh man, it's gut wrenching. Hang on, I have opinions about this. No, it doesn't go there. Doesn't go there. I'm gonna put it. under Avengers Ultron. It is a beautiful, beautiful tribute to T'Challa and to Chadwick Boseman, to their legacy, to just everything that is. It is just a beautiful, beautiful tribute. Um, and we get to see the rise of Shuri, right? And see how in her grief in dealing that. It has one of my favorite scenes in all of the MCU with that scene with Killmonger and like that um afterlife scene. Do you want to be noble like your brother, or do you want to get shit done like me, bro? I love that scene. That scene, that it's so awesome, bro. So awesome. Name more solid villain. I mean, he's no Killmonger, but like a lot better than a lot of these other MCU villains, right? The first mutant, right, as well. So that's setting up for like mutants and the X-Men and whatnot. Um, and it's really fun because Namor is obviously stronger, tougher, and faster. Well, T'Challa, or not T'Challa, Shuri, the Black Panther, it's got vibranium tech on her side, right? Well, so does he, but not as much. And I guess she's more like skillful, more versatile, smarter, whatever. That creates a fun dynamic for when they clash, right? Um, and there's a lot of gut-wrenching scenes when Shuri's mother dies. The ending where they silently got to recast the role of T'Challa with T'Challa's son. He's definitely going to be Black Panther one day. Um, that was pretty awesome. I even like M'Baku. M'Baku was great in the first Black Panther movie, and M'Baku is great in this one. M'Baku, man, he's awesome. He's vegetarian. um, there's a couple things I don't like about this. So the fact that the tribute to T'Challa, to Chadwick Boseman, is so beautiful that it's like a funeral and it's hard to watch. I have watched this movie one time, maybe twice, but one time for sure. I watched it in theaters, and um, it's like a funeral. It's hard to get through. It's beautiful, and you feel it, and you love it, but it's like a funeral, and you don't want to keep watching a funeral, right? Um, couple other things I didn't care. There's a lot of I feel like the movie was too long. There's a lot of points like in the center where my wife looked at me and was like, "I'm falling asleep," and and yeah, because it's a little boring. Like I don't. There's some parts in there where you're like, I don't really care what's happening on screen right now. And then the very end, I don't care. They fight, right, and it's a cool fight, right. Um, she gets stabbed with a spear, and she's fine. I know she's a Black Panther. She's basically a super soldier. That's whatever. But like, she's fine. She's stabbed with a spear through like the stomach or the gut, but she's fine. Sure. Yeah. Sure. Uh, um, and then at the end, after they just had this war, right, between the Wakandans and whatever they ended up calling Namor's people. I know they couldn't use the word Atlanteans because of DC, but like they called them whatever. Um, no. uh, they had like this cool war or whatever, and then suddenly they're friends. They're BFFs. All right. All because he decided to stand down, right? That makes no sense. They wouldn't come in holding hands or whatever like they did. That was so stupid. I hated that so much. Um, I will say that the debut of Ironheart was pretty cool. Better than her show, but still pretty good. Uh, Riri Williams, that's right. Black Widow. Hmm. Sucks, bro. This really sucks. I'm gonna put it right here. it kind of deserves the hate it gets, but maybe not as much as it actually does. So, Tasha Romanoff, Black Widow, excellent, right? It's a movie that should have came out after Civil War, but they didn't want to because they didn't think they would buy girl toys or something. I don't know. It was like a merchandise thing. They didn't think merchandise of this movie would sell. Um, that to me, I don't think that should be a priority. I think we should just get the movie out when it makes sense for it to be out. But I digress. I didn't like. I've watched this movie like twice, once. Um, it was during COVID, so it's like it wasn't in the big screens, right? Um, it just I don't know. Maybe I was too hyped for this movie, and I was just a little disappointed. The fight choreography, great as always. I mean, yeah, pretty good. No, I guess not as always, but it was still pretty good. Um, Yelena and Red Guardian standouts. Truly, they stand out more so than the star of the movie, Natasha Romanoff. Excellent, Yelena, bro. She might be becoming the heart and soul of the MCU because she is excellent. Um, like truly excellent. Taskmaster, they did shit in the bag with this, didn't they? They had that the making of they had everything on the table to make a great villain, and they take Taskmaster and they just strip away almost everything that makes Taskmaster in the comics. Almost everything. They still got like that photographic memory of fighting styles and mimicry and whatnot. But like outside of that, they strip away everything from Taskmaster that made him like a cool villain, and just made him a generic muscle for a bigger, powerful villain. And I say powerful, I mean like influentially, financially, blah blah blah. That's stupid, man. That's Taskmaster. This is a much cooler villain, and you just dumbed her down. I don't care that it's played that it, like Taskmaster is a woman. I don't care, but that's fine. It could have still been great if you'd done it right. And that entire last act, that final fight scene, it is just they're falling out of the sky hundreds of feet, and yet they're just fighting each other. What in the PlayStation 2 fight scene is this? Like, I've heard it be referred to as that, and I can't stop thinking about it as such because that's really what it was. I don't know. It just wasn't what I wanted it to be. It wasn't what a lot of people wanted it to be. Um, yeah. All right. Sorry, I just yawned. Captain America. This is a great start. Put it above Ant-Man. Yeah, yeah, I'll put it there. All right. Great start to Steve Rogers' arc, right? Excellent. There we get to see his values, even when he's like a small little sickly boy, right? Um, excellent. Red Skull was a fine villain, I guess. I think it should have been better. Um, because he plays such a big role in like comics and whatnot, and you would just think that he would be a little better. But I'm not gonna say it was bad. He wasn't bad. Um, at least they brought him back later on in Infinity War, right? In Endgame. This is just a good start. Good start for him. Good start for uh, Bucky Barnes, Zemo. Not Zemo. The doctor guy who puts his conscience in a computer. It's not Zemo. It's fucking Zoo. Oh shoot. The doctor Zula guy. Not Zula. I'm tripping. I don't remember. Um, it's just an excellent start. Just an excellent start. First Avenger. Boom. Right. Moving on. Went to one of my favorite movies. of all time. Nope. You get up there. Right there. I don't know what it is about this movie. This until Shang-Chi came out, this movie had the best fight choreography in the MCU. Period. And it's excellent. Excellent. That fast-paced fight scene between Captain America and the Winter Soldier is just chef's kiss. Love it. Love it. Do it again, over and over. Love it. Uh, I just it's so fast with the knife. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Awesome. Winter Soldier, beautiful. Done excellently. He's scary, he's menacing, and then the reveal, of course, if you're like a comic book friend, like a comic book guy, you know who the Winter Soldier was. But that reveal was still done excellently. And then it's all about Hydra within Shield, right? And Captain America living in this world where he's a soldier and he wants to do what's right, but the world is so different now, 70 years later, and everything has changed. There's corruption and there's all this other shit that he didn't have to deal with before, and now he kind of just wants out. He doesn't want to be a soldier. Well, he does. He wants to still do good, the morally and ethically right thing to do. Always. That's Captain America, and that's what he wants to stick on doing. That's what he wants to keep on doing. He doesn't want to sacrifice 20 million people for billions of people, right? He wants to save everyone, including those 20 million people or however many it was. Alexander Pierce, I think, was a great, like, slimy villain. Nick Fury is impossible to kill, apparently. Uh, but and Natasha Romanoff is excellent in this movie. It's just like this little spy movie within a superhero universe, and it's just done really well. Civil War, aka Avengers 2.5. I like this movie. The movie's done very well. It poses a great question, truthfully. Do I put it down here? Do I put it above Black Panther? Do I put it right there? Below Avengers? It's below Avengers, but above Black Panther. It's one or the other. It's I'll put it up here. Spectacular, but at the bottom. So this is it's an excellent question. Should superheroes be able to do what they do without any government intermission? Right. Or should they have to wait to be told when they can be deployed, like the army or some shit? Right. Um, it's a great, and of course, Captain America's on this side, Iron Man's on this side. Both of them are right. Neither of them are wrong in this scenario, but they both believe they're right. So much so that they're gonna fight, and this is stuff that's just been boiling since the first Avengers movie. They're best friends, but there's this animosity between them because they have two, like, different views on the world and how superheroes should be taken, and it's done very well here. Um, we get the introduction of Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man, right, as well as Black Panther. Both done really well, very fun, very good. And we're continuing with the Winter Soldier storyline from the previous Captain America movie as well, and that actually comes to a conclusion. Zemo is a fantastic villain. Not not as good as Thanos, but like better than any other villain that's on here so far that's not Thanos. Except for maybe Killmonger. Just he's not a physical threat, not at all. On any of them, any of these guys, of these superheroes that are fighting on here, they could beat Zemo in a fight easily. It wouldn't even be a fight. But the way he turns them against each other is brilliant for a villain. He knows he can't beat them, so turns them against each other, and it's beautiful. Um, and of course, this that shot at the end with Captain America and Iron Man fighting alongside with Bucky, of course, that 2-on-1 It's just done really well. It's awesome. Uh, when they're fighting in that airport scene, the airport scene, all right, it's awesome, but it's also just like 10 people fighting at an airport, right? Giant man shows up. There's a little bit of respect. It just kind of seems like they're fighting because they're on two different viewpoints, right? But at the end of the day, it kind of feels like none of them are trying to kill each other. There's no stakes, right? They're both just trying to subdue the other team, right? Um, but and that feeling, I mean, Hawkeye and Black Widow are fighting each other while being like, "Are we still gonna be friends after this?" You know what I'm saying? There's no stakes. Captain America shows kind of like respect or acknowledgement to Spider-Man, and vice versa. It just doesn't really feel like there's any real stakes until the end when Tony's trying to kill Bucky. There's a little bit there, but at the airport, there's not really, right? Maybe Black Panther trying to kill Bucky. That that works too. That scene of them like literally running, outpacing cars, pretty sick. Um, see the death of King T'Chaka. Uh, but it's really the events of this movie that led to the Avengers' downfall in Infinity War. It just sets it right up. They split up. They're all off. Some of them are on house arrest. Others are just gone. You know, they're all doing their own thing. They're not talking to each other, and that's why Thanos wins in Infinity War. It's a good movie. It's really good. Now, here we go. Oh, we're missing a movie. No, Captain Marvel 2. I'm lazy. I'm not gonna go find it. Uh, Captain Marvel. There. Okay. I can't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's Brie Larson. She looks like she looks like Captain Marvel, right? I don't think it's her. I think it's just okay. Well, we'll get to it. I like the '90s like retro vibe it's got going on, right? That's fun. Uh, I don't know. They just Captain Marvel. There's no real like feeling that she's gonna lose. Even before she like gets over like her psychological holdbacks and gets rid of that thing on her head or on the back of her neck or whatever, and she unlocks her full power. There's never a feeling that she's gonna lose. There's no suspense. There's no build up. She is just the most powerful character in the MCU, right? There's nothing. There's no one in this movie who's like who can really like rival her. There's no feeling of that. I mean, Ronan shows up at the end, sure, and I guess in her depowered state, you have a challenger now. But then she unlocks her full power, and he tucks his tail in between his legs and runs. Like, and that's it. She's just flying through ships, and you know, and I don't know. They do set up Monica Rambeau's start right for WandaVision and the next Marvels movie. Um, yeah, I can't get into Captain Marvel as a character because you never truly see her fail. In order to get behind a protagonist, they need to fail so they can overcome it and come back stronger. She doesn't do that. She starts off strong and then gets stronger. And that's just not how you write a character. If you're going for like a superhero action movie or story, you know. Oh, there it is. Marvels is down here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab that. Uh, hmm, do I like it better or worse? I can't. I don't. Okay, I'm gonna put it better. I'm gonna put it above it. All because of Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. She's a standout in this movie. Fucking, I think she's excellent. I think she is excellent. Truly. It's everything else in this movie that I just do not care for. But I think Kamala Khan's performance is so good that it outshines everything that Captain Marvel did. At least just barely. I also like them when they use their powers and them and then they all switch powers and them training how to do that and use their powers together. That was pretty cool, and there's some pretty funny moments. I do not care for the Clerkins. Don't I didn't say it about Captain Marvel. I hate that a fucking cat alien thing scratched Nick Fury's eye. I hate that. It should have been like a war wound or some shit. No, it's just a stupid cat alien thing. I think it's called a Clerkin, maybe a Flurkin. I don't remember, man. Um, this I don't care for the singing planet. The villain Darpin. I had to look her name up. Useless. I don't care about her. She just wants to take the oxygen from one planet to her home planet so they can like live there or something. Or maybe it was water. It might have been water. I don't know. Don't know. Don't really care. Very generic villain, and I a lot like Malekith, which we haven't talked about yet. Fuck me. My bad, guys. I didn't mean to do that. I just yawned. Um, yeah, I just don't care for this movie, dude. And then at the end where Captain Marvel's crying, it's supposed to be like this real emotional scene, and I just don't care. I really don't. I feel nothing. I feel nothing. There's nothing in the back of my throat. There's no tears. There's nothing. I feel nothing from it. There is a pretty dope ass post credit scene with Beast and X Men, right? I hope to know. Hope we get some conclusion to that. I'd like to know what the heck Monica Rambeau is doing, because it's like an alternate universe, right, with the X Men there. So like, would like to know what's going on with that. That's a plot thread that's just dangling out there for the last 2 years at least. Um, yeah.
All right. Took a little break. It's the next day now, but I'm back. Um, I forgot my headphones. Man, I'm so. Oh well, that'll be fine. I'm so good at this, guys. Um, anyways, next in MCU, we have Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was pretty solid movie. I'd say I'll give it that. It's pretty. No. Pretty solid movie. The visuals in this movie to me just we hadn't up to that point we hadn't seen anything like this in the MCU, right? And it was just stunning and mad and intricate and just really good visual CGI stuff going on here. Benedict Cumberbatch, perfect as Doctor Strange. Absolute great. Now, I'm not going to say it's the greatest casting, but it's a pretty damn good one. All right. Um, and it's just a solid origin story for the character of Doctor Strange. The bad guy Cassilis, kind of a disappointment. They had a good twist in there with the ancient one, kind of using the dark arts or whatever to stay alive for as long as she did. Um, didn't really. I think that's his name, Cassilis, something like that. But the end with Dormammu, it was excellent. That one liner, dude, is one of the best. Dormammu, I've come to bargain. And just him dying, because it's not like your typical ending to an MCU movie that ends with this big epic fight, right? This wasn't a fight; it was just a bargain. Like over and over, we just saw Doctor Strange die over and over and over again. The time loop, and it was a great. I think it's a great idea to make the Eye of Agamotto the time stone, right? Or powered by the time stone, or what? That it housed the time stone, whatever. Solid movie. I'm actually no, no. I'm gonna keep it right there. I'm gonna keep it right there. Yeah. But thinking about it, I think I am gonna put this up one to Avengers Ultron. It's an Avengers movie. I feel like it just has to be better than like third on the list, right? Like the third tier list, right? Now, Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. This movie, they had to deal with shooting it around COVID. And I think the writer strike was maybe still been going on during production of this. Um, it's okay. So Sam Raimi gets to come back, right? And he directs like half the film or something like that. And the Raimi isms, as I've heard him be called, are great. Those horror elements there are pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie, the CGI around them is pretty good. They did a good job making Scarlet Witch feel evil while also still being able to sympathize with her. She is a mother trying to get her kids back. Her kids that she didn't actually physically have, they were created magically or whatever. And but she wants to get them back because they're her twin boys, they're her babies. Um, I don't understand why a lot of people don't like it. It's got problems. It's called Multiverse of Madness, and there just doesn't seem to be a lot of madness in there. I just don't quite get it. I don't think this is the film we were supposed to get. I feel like there's supposed to be a lot more madness. Um, but it was cool seeing the alternate reality, seeing the Illuminati, having John Krasinski in there as Mr. Fantastic. It was really cool seeing Black Bolt in there. It was really cool seeing the other versions of Monica Rambeau, um, as well as Peggy Carter, and of course Patrick Stewart Lewis, or Patrick, whatever the fuck his name is, Charles Xavier. Seeing him come back, Patrick Lewis, no, Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart. That's his name. I'm so sorry. I don't know who I'm thinking of. We all know who I'm talking about. Excellent. And we got to see zombie Doctor Strange. That was pretty cool too. I don't like how they used America Chavez. They created a character who was very one dimensional and simply just a plot device. Don't like that. I also don't like the fact that Scarlet Witch actually died in this movie. That was dumb. Yeah, a mountain fell on her, but it was stated that she had the power to rule or destroy the universe. Don't think a mountain falling on top of her should have been what killed her, but they confirmed it in Agatha later on. So, all in all, the Sam Raimi isms and stuff, I'm gonna put it, it has to, I, I put it at the top of this. It gets a lot of hate and it doesn't deserve it. All right. Uh, well, it does, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It, I could do. Okay, actually, no. I'm gonna put it there. Okay, dude, it's so because like the high points are high, but the low points are really low. Um, okay, I'm moving on before I fucking waste any more time on this. The Eternals. This movie gets a lot of hate. I get it. That's where I'm putting it. So I understand why people hate it. This moves quickly. I don't think it's. I don't think it's long enough. Uh, a lot of the characters we don't get a chance to get like emotionally connected with. Um, they butchered the villain Crow, right? They butchered him. He could have just been written out of this story, and I think we legitimately would have had a better movie because there would have been more time devoted to the characters and to the actual plot of the movie that actually mattered. Um, and we didn't even see any continuation of this movie until we saw Captain America with Sam, right? New World Order. We finally got to see what happened with the Celestial and whatnot. Um, but I admire the ambition they had. They had a lot of ambition. They had 10, like a cast of like 10 new characters, right? It was a whole team of superheroes that they had to introduce and flesh out in one movie. And I don't think this movie hit the 2 hour mark, right? Um, I mean, for what it was, the action was fun. Some of the characters are very likable, and they crafted out this like whole mythology within the MCU, right? With the Celestials, them destroying the worlds after so many years, and destruction of billions of people is like, no, we don't like that. But then you think about it, the Celestial that's born from that goes on to create trillions of more life, trillions, quadrillions, an unthinkable amount, right? So it's this continuous thing, and I find that interesting. I really like the action scene. I think Icarus is actually a very solid and conflicted villain. I think, yeah, as far as like a Superman villain that's not crazy like Homelander or anything like that, right? I think it's there. I think it's all right. The post credit scene does nothing anymore. I don't think we're ever going to see Black Knight in the MCU. I guess Blade is coming at some point, but who knows? We saw Thanos' brother being played by Harry Styles, right? What's going on with that? All right, it's some stuff I just don't think we're ever going to get like a uh, anything from. You know, they're not going to come back to it because the movie didn't do so well, and I know Eternals 2 is not in the works, right? Um, I think this movie gets a lot of hate that it doesn't deserve. I don't like this movie, but I don't hate it either. It's really just I don't know. It's the best way I can describe it, right? I admire the ambition they had, but they marketed this as like an Avengers movie almost, or something similar to the Avengers movie. And it's impossible to do when you don't know the characters already going into it, right? Uh, and so they just, they didn't just drop the ball, they struck out like in the first act. like, so it's not a bad movie. Okay. I can watch this and get enjoyment out of it to some degree. Okay. Um, but it's not a lot of enjoyment. And I don't think I've seen it since it came out. I didn't go watch this in theaters, but I watched it when it came out, and I don't think I've watched it since. I don't think so. What is this? Falcon and Winter Soldier? Boy, our first TV series on our list. I think I gotta put it. Okay, so I'll put it right there. Um, this was supposed to be our introduction to Sam as Captain America, right? Like him becoming Captain America and accepting the shield, right? I don't know. It just didn't hit. We're still on the hype, right? WandaVision had just come out. This was the next show, and I think because I want to put it higher. I think I'm remembering it better than what it actually was because I haven't watched it since, right? And a lot of things aren't like memorable. Zemo dancing that was memorable, right? Um, of course, U.S. Agent John Walker as new Captain America, and then loses that. I think there's a good solid arc there somewhere. The Flag Smashers did not hit as a villain. You had like this unique idea, right? Of these people who like the world better during the 5 year blip, and so they become terrorists. But now there's super soldiers who are terrorists. Then it just gets so bleh, right. This doesn't work. It just does not work. It was cool seeing the Dora Milaje from Wakanda in there. It was cool seeing Sam finally suit up and becoming Captain America in his all new high tech vibranium suit. Um, I also like what they did with the super soldier serum, how it corrupts people, but it didn't corrupt Steve Rogers because Steve Rogers is the greatest morally ethical man to ever live. Um, yeah, I don't know. It just didn't. I just don't feel like it ever hit it. It didn't hit the points that we wanted. And who? What's her name? The power broker, the girl, the Sharon Carter. Her become being like the power broker felt like it was going to be a big deal, and then it wasn't. It hasn't been talked about since. Don't know what's going on with that. Yeah, this movie or this show, it just didn't hit. I don't know what it was. Of course, Bucky and Sam, they have good banter, right? And seeing the old super soldier Isaiah, I believe, seeing him get some like lore hidden behind in the MCU was cool as well. But overall, the show, it just didn't hit. I don't know what it was. But you know what movie that did hit? First Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I love this movie so much. Get up here. I'm gonna go ahead and just, yeah, I'm gonna put it there. Yeah, this movie was excellent. They did something. James Gunn did something that genuinely feels impossible. Like he took a list of D-list actors and actresses and a list of D-list Marvel superheroes, casted them to those roles, and made a phenomenon. I don't know what they did. He made the careers of Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista, um, the oh shit, the actress that plays Gamora. I can't think of her name, but yeah, all the like good actors, like the ones that we know could deliver as an actor, voiced a raccoon, Vin Diesel, right? Oh no, he voiced Groot. My bad. I forgot who voiced Raccoon, but I know he was another actor, and they weren't actually in the film. It was just their voice, bro. He did it. The 80s music, the everything about this. It was funky. It was emotional. It was everything we needed this to be, and it was hilarious. I don't think that Dave Bautista's Drax, excellent. Chef's kiss. I, no one could do it better. Love this movie. This movie is excellent. Well done. Everything about it. Love it. Guardians 2. I think this one's the black sheep, right? This one's the black sheep of them. Let me get back up here. But I still really like it. It is weirdly paced and weirdly, like with the plot, you don't realize there's a bad guy until like the end. Um, and you find out Peter is like this god, but then he just gives up the power at the end to defeat his dad. I think Kurt Russell's ego is excellent. I think everything said about the first one to this one, pretty much copy and paste. Maybe they overdid it with the music a little bit. Um, and maybe they get a little too hateful with the humor, like when Groot, one of those guys are like pouring all the fucking like the liquid on top of Groot, a baby Groot now. Um, Drax being calling Mantis ugly, but I think that makes up for it at the end for when Drax literally does everything he can to save her, right? And it actually has one of my favorite, funniest moments from Drax when he lags. Mantis gets hit by the flying debris, and he goes, "Mantis, look out!" And then it's an emotional end. Yondu has a very awesome emotional death, and I just think it's well done. I love this movie. I do see why people don't like it as much as the first one. I don't either. I do think it is a step down, but fantastic movie. And they set up Adam Warlock pretty well. Moving on to this. I'm telling you this. It's a fucking masterpiece. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, hands down. You know, since Endgame, MCU, Marvel Studios, they have been inconsistent with the quality of work, right? This is the highest end, in my opinion. I think it's the best movie they've made since Endgame. It is so emotional. They got Rocket's Raccoon down, or like his origin and him perfect. And for a long time, I didn't like what they did with Adam Warlock, but now I look at it, and I'm like, I mean, he's like a child. He's like an all powerful child, and that's how they would react. And I find it humorous. um, Drax is perfect. Everyone is perfect, and I'm glad they didn't have Peter and like Gamora rekindle their love because it's not the same Gamora, right? It's not the same thing. It's just highly emotional. It makes you feel. My wife cried throughout this entire movie. I wanted to cry. It is beautifully done, and it is tragically sad. But it's also a beautiful send off for all of them. Unfortunately, we'll probably never see these characters again in the MCU, but it was just beautiful. And the High Evolutionary, best villain since Thanos. Truly, best villain since Thanos. Because he truly believes what he's doing is right. And that's how you make a good villain. When you can feel his belief in himself. Bro, it's a masterpiece. Masterpiece. Next up, Hawkeye. Like Hawkeye. It's not a great show, but it's a fun, down to earth Christmas show, right? With and Kingpin gets to come back, right? Fun stuff. Even if the fight scene with Kate Bishop gets a little too cartoony for me, um, it's pretty solid. I think the emotional moment with Yelena and Hawkeye is fun. We get to show up with Kate Bishop, which Kate Bishop and Yelena, great chemistry. They are a humorous, dynamic duo. I would pay to go see them like on stage, just doing their thing, shooting the shit. Right? I would pay to see that. They are hilarious. Okay, that whole elevator fight scene that really hurt, bro. It is so funny, dude. Um, I guess, and then of course Kingpin comes back, right? Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. And it's all about Christmas, and it's a family show, and he's just trying to get back home, but he can't go back home because he's got to deal with other things, right? Uh, and it's just really cool. This show. This is Black Widow should have had a TV show, not a movie. Um, and everything it was solid, low tier, and the emotions and the humor hit when it needed to. Um, yeah, right there. I can't really have. I don't really have a lot of bad to say about it. I just know I don't like it any better than the ones in front of it. Right, but it's pretty solid. It's a solid show. The Incredible Hulk. All right, this movie is not great. All right, it's not a great movie. But I think it actually. So we'll talk about it. The action in this movie is very fun. Excellent for just two big guys fighting. The CGI was done well, and the action is awesome. It's a great climactic fight, right? And then visually, this is my favorite Hulk that we've ever seen on the big screen, right? In the live action perspective, right? Just the way he looks, you see the anger, you see him getting stronger, you see him just it visually, it's my favorite looking Hulk, right? And I think Norton did a solid job as Bruce Banner. However, with that being said, the movie's not very long, right? Which I think hurts it. I think they tried a little too much to set up for future movies with the Brain or whatever that guy's name is, as well as Red Hulk. and all that, which we would eventually see later on uh, in New World Order. Um, I'm so sorry. I don't know why my throat sounds like that. Ugh. Um, I don't know. Something just didn't click. The love romance scenes with Betty, so cringy. I don't like it. It's always been cringy. I don't think she or Edward Norton had chemistry at all. Um, but the post credit scene was a great way to tie it into the greater MCU with Tony Stark showing up. The movie is just not that great from I guess from a plot perspective and all that. So there's that, and then we have the goat. I will put it. I'll put it at top of Avenger. Oh shit! What the top of Avenger? Put it above Black Panther. This is the start of the MCU. It kick-started the MCU, right? If this movie failed, the MCU would not exist. This movie did everything right. It was an excellent origin story for Tony Stark and for Iron Man. Um, there's a good villain in there, Obadiah Stane, and you get credit to RDJ. This was truly he needed like a grand performance to get out of the shuffle of life, right? That he was in, like the pickle he was in, truly, and this was it. He most of this movie was impromptu. He improved a lot of this, and it was excellent. It's just a great film. This is a great movie. Like genuinely a great movie. Great origin story. Great start to the MCU. Could not get better. And the thing is with this movie is that at the time, the MCU wasn't really real. Marvel Studios wasn't owned by Disney. Marvel Studios was like this little thing over there about to go bankrupt. Okay. Because their Marvel movies weren't doing so good until this one. And this exploded their stock. Um just excellent. I just and with it being the start, it didn't have to tie into a greater universe, right? It didn't have to tie in. They could leave little teases here and there, and they did, but they didn't have to worry about that. So it wasn't like as big as a priority to them at the time because they didn't know how people were going to take this movie, and it's why we have the MCU today. It deserves that. Now, as for the second one, talk about a fall from grace. No, it's not that bad. Uh, okay. I think I find more enjoyment out of it than Hawkeye. Maybe even more so than Doctor Strange. And I'm actually going to move this right there. No, no, above, right there. I'm into it. They pushed this out. It came out like a year and a half before it should have, um, because of the success of the first one, right? And it's still good, but War Machine gets is introduced, right? Sure. Well, he was in the first one, played by a different actor, but Rhodes, War Machine, is in the movie. Um, and then Tony Stark as RDJ. Brilliant Nick Fury and Natasha Romanoff get introduced in this. And we get to start setting up for the Avengers Initiative, or the Avengers. The villain lackluster, which makes me sad because I can't think of his name, but the actor playing the villain, Whiplash, did like a lot of work, a lot of psychological work on himself to really portray this villain, and they cut a lot of it or whatever, right? Uh, that sucks. And this movie, I don't know, I think it was paced kind of weirdly. Tony's dealing with his own stuff most of the movie until the end, right? Because he fights Whiplash at the start, he beats Whiplash, and then he just goes on. He doesn't think there's a villain to fight anymore until the very end. And I just think that's very weird of him. He's dealing with like the poison or whatever going on here with his arc reactor. Um, I don't know. It's just weird. It doesn't hit the same, right? But I do find enjoyment. There's a lot of fun action. There's a good action, and there's some good humor moments as well. Iron Man 3. I know a lot of people don't like this movie, but I think a lot of people hate this movie because of the twist they put in, not because the movie is actually bad. So it gets overhated. Personally, greatly I enjoy this movie, right? I'll put it there. Actually, come on. Okay, fine. I'll put it there. The laptop doesn't want me to put it there. Fine. This movie is great. He's trauma. Right. He's been traumatized due to the Battle of New York and seeing the threat that's out there. So he's having nightmares, night terrors. It's affecting his relationship with Pepper. Um, it's affecting his entire life. Uh, and I think the psychological trauma of the Battle of New York and Avengers was done very well. He has great chemistry with that boy, that actor. I can't think of his name in this movie, but he played great in Jurassic World. I think he has great chemistry with him. It was funny. Of course, the action scenes were good, but obviously, the big thing about this movie was the plot twist that the Mandarin actually wasn't in this movie. A great comic book villain, one of Iron Man's great comic book villains, and they marketed him heavily to be in this movie, and he wasn't. And what we got was just someone else who is had been wronged by Tony Stark in the past at some point, right? I don't know. And this movie, this movie would have been a great send off for Tony if he didn't come back. It's kind of weird because it's a great ending, and it's like, oh, we're never going to see him again in the MCU. Well, we do. So it's weird. I think there was like contract things going on with RDJ. I don't know. I think he was thinking about not coming back, so they gave him like a proper send off so he could, in universe, live happy with Pepper Potts. But he did end up signing a new contract, and so he came back, and yeah. Uh, Still though, I still think it's a very solid movie. I don't think it deserves the hate it gets. Loki. Okay, so Loki's on here twice for season 1 and season 2. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Right there, right there. I think Loki is one of the best shows that the Marvel has made. Loki is always great, and they made him even better. Right, all of it leading up. Even Loki season 2 fixed the problems that Ant-Man Quantumania created. Right, with Kang and taking care of that, Loki being in the center of it all. Uh, it was just good, and I love that Owen Wilson was Mobius. That was just excellent. Wow. uh, Everything about this, Loki just goes on such a journey in this, character wise. I think it's inspiring. It truly is. I can't think of a single bad thing they did. It gets a little weird in season 2. I get confused until the very end, and then you're like, oh, I get it. Not going to talk about it a lot because I haven't watched it in a long time. I don't want to say things that aren't correct, but I just remember greatly enjoying it. So we're gonna continue on here. I'm yawning again. Oh shit. My bad. Moon Knight. Moon Knight, I was so hyped for Moon Knight. I like it. I like Moon Knight. But I wanted to love Moon Knight, and Moon Knight didn't let me love it. Okay? Like, I was so hyped for Moon Knight. I think Moon Knight's a cool ass character. Um, but the biggest thing I remember is just the Power Ranger fight scene at the end between two kaijus. Like, that's all I really remember. The fight scenes were cool. I think that seeing the having like Stephen Grant and Mark Spector take over the body, and having and Mark Spector's traumatized background, right? So like some of this was really good, others not so much, and it's a really damper because when you get to the gods and they go to like the underworld or whatever, the afterlife, whatever that is, it gets really weird. And then they even like had like a fun teaser at the end with Jake Lockley, right? That they've been teasing a little bit here and there. Um, but it falls off because they haven't done anything with it. They haven't announced a season 2 for this, and I don't think they're going to. Um, and I just think that's a damn fucking shame. Um, with that being said, and the villain, I think the villain started out as very convincing, very good at like that episode 1. But then by the end of it, no, I don't care. Like, um, there's some high points. There's definitely some low points. I'll put it there. No, there. Because I liked it better than Eternals. I liked it better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But I think I would take Hawkeye over it. So we'll put it there. Miss Marvel. This show, it started out so good. Like, it's just like this down to earth, almost like a Spider Man story, where it's just this down to earth. What the heck? Oh, they're watching a movie out there. This down to earth, grounded superhero story of a teenager, right? Who's a mutant, by the way, activated by one of the quantum bands. Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. I think she is a highlight. And everything she's been a highlight. I think she is just so entertaining to watch. She's like kind of like Tom Holland in like Civil War in his first movie, right? He's just excellent as like a teen superhero. So is she. And 3 of these episodes were done very well. And I think those are episodes 1, 2, and 5, maybe. But uh, episodes 3, 4, and 6, not so much. Because they're done by completely different like crew people, like directed or whatever. There's fun points, and then suddenly it just we go to the past. We time travel, y'all, to the some major event that happened in India like 100 years ago or something. I don't remember when. Um, the clandestines weren't that great. The final battle was very anticlimactic. I do like her powers and whatnot. They look cool, like the hardened light thing. Um, and then they set up pretty fun to the Marvels. I felt like that was better. I like this a hell of a lot better than the Marvels. I like this. Put it there. Maybe I'm being nice to these guys. Maybe I need to start chucking them because here I'm gonna move Captain Marvel down here as well. Secret Invasion. We don't have to talk about it. I didn't even finish it. I never watched the final episode. I was so done. Everything about it. Just Nick Fury deserved his own show. He deserved it. But Secret Invasion is like one of the biggest comic book like stories in all of Marvel's history, and they butchered it. Butchered it. So stupid. You know what's not stupid? Shang fucking Chi, bro. I love this movie. Yeah, I'm putting it up here. Great origin story for Shang-Chi. the fight choreography, the Chinese or the whatever, uh, the kung fu. That's what I was trying to get to. The kung fu style choreography, excellent. Surpassed Winter Soldier's fighting choreography. Right, it was awesome. Love this movie. Everything about it. It was humorous. It even kind of brought like the original, quote unquote, the original Mandarin from Iron Man 3 in there. Um, Everything about this was just done really well. A lot of people don't like the fantastical elements at the end, like when they kind of go to Narnia and there's like this big dragon kaiju fight. I love that shit. And Wen Wu, the real Mandarin, was an excellent villain. You could feel his pain. He was a conqueror for like 1,000 years, and then he gave it all up because he fell in love and he became a dad. But then some bad people killed his wife, and that was that. And he returned to his ways, and he gets corrupted by the dweller in darkness, and you feel that, bro. He's just a father, right? He's a husband with power. Okay, like ever, anyone would fall for that kind of corruption to get like their significant other back, their partner. You feel that. I've convinced myself putting it up here. This movie is good. It's so good. And I can't wait to see Shang-Chi come back, truly. She-Hulk, I put it there. This, okay, there is a specific group of people, a niche, if you will, of people out there who probably really like this show. However, I'm part of the majority that did not. The only reason I watched this was to see Daredevil. And let's just say I wasn't thrilled with how they portrayed him in there. Um, so, yeah. I am back. It's another new day. What was the last one I did? I don't remember. But hey, look at that. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Oh hi. What is happening? I don't know what I'm doing. No. I do not yet clear, please. That's okay. That's fine. Go away. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I am back. What is that? Spider-Man? The first Spider-Man movie is a fucking banger, dude. I love this movie so much. It is such a simple, grounded origin story for Spider-Man. It's gone to Avengers. Yeah, I have to put it here. I feel more with this. Of course, RDJ is RDJ, but this just tells a great story of Peter Parker waiting to becoming an Avenger, right? And always feeling like he has Tony Stark that's gonna, if he messes up, Tony Stark's gonna come in and save the day, right? And then you get to a point where he doesn't have the cool fancy suit, and Tony Stark isn't gonna be there to save the day, and he has to grow up. It's a great coming of age story. They tell this story very well. Now, everything up to that final fight I thought was done very well. You even get a Miles Morales tease in this movie, and that's excellent. Um, However, that final fight with the airplane, oh man, I mean, Vulture was a great villain. It was a great starting villain for Spider-Man. That final fight though was not it. Everything about it was not it. Outside of that though, the movie slaps, bro. I mean, truthfully. Um, Actually, I'm gonna put it there. I'll put Shang-Chi above it. Better villain in Shang-Chi. Alright. Far From Home. I'm not the biggest fan of this movie. Not gonna lie. I do think it's a common consensus that it's the worst of his films. No, but it's not like a bad movie. It's just confusing, right? So like, alright, Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio was great to a point, and I'm gonna get to that. The illusions and the special effects and all that, it's really fun. Tom Holland as Spider Man is great. Zendaya kind of shines in this movie as MJ. Ned, of course, is Ned. We love a good Ned. All the supporting characters are fun, happy. Uh, Aunt May, all the great stuff. My problem here is why would Tony Stark leave a 16-year-old with a military grade like glasses thing that has like command over like a powerful AI or whatever it was? Why would he do that? It is a 16-year-old kid. Yes, Peter Parker is very smart. Yes, he's like Tony Stark's spitting image, right? Or whatever, his mentor. That still makes no sense. You can give it to Happy. You can give it to Aunt May and be like, give this to him when he's 18. You could give this to Pepper Potts. You don't give this to a 16-year-old boy, okay? And then Mysterio. Well, I actually think Jake Gyllenhaal did solid in this movie. What is the end goal? Does he want to be an Avenger? He wants this so he can become a fake superhero, essentially. Why? Why? What is the point of that? A fake superhero? And that's something else. He is just another villain that was scorned by Tony Stark at some point in his life. That's like the 800th one at this point in the MCU. like, um, So there's good things here. I think it's pretty solid. I haven't watched it in a long time. Um, there's also that thing, that one scene with an older lady telling a teenage Peter Parker to drop his pants, basically, and without context, that's a little concerning. And especially, say, if the roles were reversed and it was a teenage Zendaya and they're with an older man, like, I don't know, Nick Fury or something. Now the context is a lot worse. Just super saying. All right, but No Way Home. I love this movie. I will kill for this movie. No, get up here. I love this movie. I love this movie. I will put it. I'll put it there. Everything about this movie. I know it's just a fan service thing. That's all it is. Just a crowd pleasing thing, but it actually works, right? All the returning cast members from the past Spider-Man films. It was awesome. That's all I can say. It was epic. It's awesome. The last time I watched this, I got drunk and cried when Andrew Garfield saved MJ. But it was just awesome. Toby and Andrew, they got to come back. They got to co-star with Tom Holland without stealing the limelight, right? Without stealing his spotlight. And everything was perfect about this movie. I don't get why people hate this movie. Truly. It's not Marvel running out of ideas. This makes genuine sense moving on with the story that they were telling. It made sense. And it was all turnabout play, and it all turns it around. And now, like it always should have been, no one knows who Spider Man is. Except maybe Hulk. Hulk might know, but I don't know. That's just a theory I have for the next Spider-Man film. But it sets up beautifully for the future. Venom is now in the MCU, I think, and something Venom is there, and Spider-Man is just a street level hero now, living alone. That's Peter Parker. He sacrificed his friend's future and happiness. Sorry about that. That was my wife. She tried to be nice. It's all fine. Um, but everything. Doc Ock, Green Goblin, dude. Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin will never, ever, ever be bad. Ever. It perfect, just like it was the first time around. Perfect here. And it was so good just to see them all come back, and they all got represented better. Even if the guy who played Lizard and the guy that played Sandman didn't actually come back, all the characters, they just seem better this time around. And I just love this movie, bro. There's some weird plot things. I don't know why Doctor Strange wouldn't talk to Peter about the possible consequences of their spell beforehand. It's a major plot thing, right? But outside of that, truly love this movie, dude. Let me get into the Thor movies. I'm gonna shoot this real fast. Just like the other origin stories, this is just a solid start to Thor. I overall just find it kind of boring. Like, it's not a bad movie. I think it's a great introduction to Thor, Odin, Loki, Jane Foster, Darcy, who's I think is so funny. Um, but overall, I just don't vibe with this movie that much. I'm actually gonna change my pick. I'm gonna put it. Come on, no, fine, no, come on, fucker, get over. All right, because it's not a bad movie, and there's some good stuff. It's just I don't expect it. Oh, okay, are you still recording? Yeah. Okay. Cool. 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 Uh, all right. It's just overall a little boring to me. I don't. I don't know. I don't vibe with it. Thor: Dark World. Yeah, it's one of the worst out there. I actually rewatched it recently. Put that there. It's boring. Malekith is a boring generic villain. The action's fun. I think Loki's a standout. We got some funny impromptu moments, but overall, boring film, generic film. Especially the villain Malekith. Not fun. But then we get to Ragnarok. I didn't even do that. But then we get to Ragnarok, and it's like, they did it. They did it. I'll put it up here. I'll put it above Loki. Everything about this film. They did everything right in this film that they did wrong in The Dark World. Everything. They gave Thor some personality. The team up. Hela's a great villain. Surtur, Ragnarok, everything about it. Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster is perfect. Um, Everything about this, it's so cool, dude. It's so good, and it leads perfectly into go away, go away, right into Avengers: Infinity War. I remember watching this in theaters, and in the post-credit scene, Thanos' massive ship just appears behind him. Chills, bro. And we all just went, "Oh my god!" But excellent. No, 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 right there. And then they went too far with it. Like, should it go before or after Quantumania? I'm gonna put it above She-Hulk and Secret Invasion, but fuck it. I just they took Ragnar. They took what they did in Ragnarok, and they took it too far. It's too much comedy, too much. You have a lot of interesting like themes going on in this movie, and you're ruining it with all your comedy. Okay, like the screaming goats, dude. Stop. It wasn't even funny the first time, but I get it the first time. After that, stop. And then you have this love triangle with a hammer or an axe or whatever. Okay, and like I just. You get Christian Bale to play this iconic villain and Gore, and you just don't do anything with him. I don't understand. What we saw on screen, I liked what we saw of Gore, but we just didn't see very much. He kills one god, guys. Like, and apparently he slaughters gods over like a few weeks span or whatever. But like, we didn't see it. Imagine if Gore showed up in Omnipotent City. Whoa! And I guess they set up like Thor 5 with Hercules, but like, okay. This movie's just bad. Very disappointed. But then we get WandaVision, and I remember the hype for this. Hang on, it's not going there. WandaVision is so good. And up until the end, anyways. It is. phenomenal. I like it better than Loki. 100%. I like going through the decades. I like it's like a sitcom, but there's something going on behind screen. Sword is there. Wanda is just so powerful. We get to see it, and it tells this nice story of her getting this family, but then having to say goodbye to it so the rest of the town can be free. And it is, and it's told as a great story. The thing that falters with this show is that the end. It has to be like this epic fight. It didn't have to be that. You made it that. It didn't have to be that way. Um, but like everything about this, I just remember the hype of early 2020. Right. I remember I would watch as it came out every week. Me and my girlfriend, now wife, uh, we would actually get on a call and we would watch it together every week, and then we would talk about it afterwards, and it was just awesome. And I just remember just the hype around it on the internet and whatnot. Just and the MCU will never be able to recreate it, even if they come out with a banging show, dude. They will never recreate what they did or what they had with WandaVision. I'm telling you. Oy. Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night is gonna put it right here. I've only seen it the one time, but it's a special, right? So it's only like 45-ish minutes. But what they did, I actually liked. You know what they did? They didn't have a lot of time to do stuff with characters and with like plot. But what they did, the black and white aesthetic, the original Wolfman, right? All the other monsters, swamp things in there. It's it's interesting. It's I would like to see these characters come back. I don't think they ever will, but I think it'd be fun to really hone in on like the supernatural side of the MCU. They keep like teasing it. Moon Knight, technically, whenever Blade decides to come out, it's like there. It, but whatever. It's for what it was. It was pretty cool. What if? I really like What If. Season one, What If was peak. What If, honestly, it surely felt like season one. What If really felt like the smallest things changed, and one of the films, and it branched off into this. That's what each episode felt like. Outside of maybe the Marvel Zombies one, I still love that episode. It just kind of came out of nowhere. Every other episode felt like it was something that could actually potentially happen if one decision or changed or whatever. Um, season two kind of has that, but it's starting to get redundant. And then season three, it's like, oh man, all of this is like ridiculous. There's an episode of the duck, Howard and Darcy from like the Thor movies having a baby, and it's like the most powerful being of all time. Like that makes no sense. That's stupid. There's nowhere in that would actually happen. Um, and season one, Infinity Ultron, the best villain, truly the best villain. Season two's final villain, I don't remember what it was. Was it like a Hella variant that had all like the different like cosmic weapons? No, it wasn't Hella. I don't remember. Um, and then season three just was really starting to get ridiculous. I think I will put it above Werewolf by Night just because season one was so fun. And if you really like the Marvel What If comics, I haven't read any of them, but I've heard if you really like those, you would probably like at least season one. Sorry, I like hiccuped or something. Deadpool and Wolverine. I love this movie too. Just like Spider-Man No Way Home. It's like um, just like a fan servicey moment, right? We can put this up here. I don't like it as much as No Way Home. I'll put it behind Iron Man. Everything about this movie, I mean, it's a Deadpool film. The humor, the breaking of the fourth wall, but everything about it. I remember seeing Wesley Snipes' Blade walk in and getting cold chills and freaking out because I had no idea that he was going to be in this movie. None. I'd heard rumors about Channing Tatum and Chris Evans as Human Torch, and even Elektra, but nothing on Blade, and that was just one of the biggest surprises ever. And Hugh Jackman, despite it not being the Wolverine that we know and like grew up with, still made us care about this variant of Wolverine. Truly, just a masterclass performance on his part. Same goes for Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. As always, action is fun. Everything about this, it was awesome. It just doesn't really feel like a Marvel movie. You know, the TVA's there, but it's like that's the only connection to the greater MCU, right? This feels much more like a Fox movie, and I guess they're now in the MCU. Actually, no, not really. Cassandra Nova was a fine villain. The way they showed her powers, I really like it. It's really twisted and disturbing. Um, but yeah, it's the best way I can describe that movie. It is a great fan servicey movie. So, X-Men '97. I am so sorry, y'all, but I haven't seen it. Um, so I didn't watch the original like show back in the '90s. Obviously, it's more or less before my time. Um, I've only heard good things about it. Both variations, right? The continuation that this is, but I haven't seen it. I think I would like to. I don't know. Should I? Do I have to go back and watch the original stuff in the '90s? I don't know, man. So I don't know. Echo, a show that was completely pointless. There was no need to have this. Like it served no purpose. I'm gonna put it right there. Like I don't know. You made a show around a character that was like that was in Hawkeye for like 2 episodes or something, and then you decide to create a show off of it. This is Marvel just spitting out content to make money. Like this is all this is. It's 5 episodes. A lot of it makes no sense, and they market it as the most violent, brutal show ever, and it wasn't that. Like I don't remember seeing blood. Like honestly, um, wait, why is What If on here again? That's season 2. Season 3? No, season 3 is not on there. I don't know why What If is on here twice. But fuck it. I already kind of talked about it, so I'll put it there. Captain America: New World Order. This movie was postponed for a year because they basically reshot the whole film. It gets a lot of hate. I don't hate it. I think it's fine. I don't think it deserves the hate that it has. I'll put it at the top of it. I think it's all right. The thing is, this is a Hulk sequel without Hulk, right? This is a Theodore Ross movie, right? I mean, Captain America's in it. He doesn't go through any arc or anything, but he's in it, right? The brain, I mean, his whole thing is that he can like predict like future events based off statistics and whatnot, right? I mean, you can only make a villain so good with that if his statistics and his probability never come true in the movie. You know what I'm saying? Red Hawk was fun. I think the final fight scene was fun, except for the fact that it was Sam that calmed him down and not Betty. Um, but obviously, Red Hawk was the big attraction. They did actually finally kind of catch up what was going on after the events of Eternals with the Celestial Island, and they introduced adamantium into the MCU. So that's cool. It's all right. It's fine. I don't think it deserves the hate that it has. And it gets us ready for Avengers Doomsday as he's trying to, remake the Avengers. Agatha all along, similar to She-Hulk in that it only pertains to like a niche audience, you know. However, I find this much more enjoyable. I'll put it at the top, right? If you like Hocus Pocus, if you grew up with that, or Halloween Town, or anything of that nature, you'll like this. maybe Charmed. If you grew up watching Charmed, you'll like this. The song is catchy. It's all right. They introduced Wiccan, which is one of his twin sons. Um, all the witches there, and they join the coven and the witches road, and it's okay. It's to me, I don't think this show was like necessary, but I am glad they did it because otherwise, Wiccan might not ever be used. Um, the final episode was kind of anticlimactic, but like leading up to it, it was very cool how they did everything with the different witches and what they like proficient in and all that great stuff. Uh, Daredevil, all right, Daredevil. Now I'm only ranking the season on Disney Plus. I'm not ranking the Netflix stuff. If that, it would be probably all the way up at the top of Spectacular, but I'm not. And so with this, I think it's going to get better, but for now, I'm going to put it there. So, all right. I'm glad they like stopped what they were doing halfway through the season and went back and redid everything because what they were doing was horrendous. Obviously, the best scenes is when you have Matt Murdock, Karen, Frank Castle, Wilson Fisk, and Poindexter. Those are the best scenes of this entire show, right? It's just so like classic, and you can feel their history and chemistry together. Frank Castle is standout, honestly. In the 1 or 2 episodes he was in, standout. Kingpin, this feels like Kingpin. This feels like Daredevil. This feels like Karen. And they did something wild by killing off Foggy at the very beginning. Now, a lot of people didn't like that. I actually think it's a great way to hook your audience. The audience is hooked, and now we get to move forward. I don't care for all the new characters, the other lawyers, the new love interest with the therapist or whatever, and then Mute. You have an interesting basis for like scary villain, but ended up just being very one dimensional and just to set up the future, right? Um, that first fight with Poindexter in the first episode was like I don't know why they felt it the need to make it so CGI. Stop. These two have fought before. Just let them fight. Get some fighting choreography and let them fight. There's no need to have all that heavy CGI, right? But I am glad they brought Poindexter back into the series. Um, And I think the ending would have been better if it was all faces that we knew, like if it was like Jessica Jones was in it, Luke Cage, maybe even Spider Man, instead of all those other characters that they didn't really develop that much. Um, I'm sorry, they're watching something out there that I don't know what's going on. um, and there was an episode about a bank heist that took up the entirety of an episode. It did nothing to move the plot along, but it was still like a fun episode. And I think after season 2, I will move this up to Avenger, but for now, it's staying in pretty solid. Thunderbolts. I love this movie. This movie is so good. This to me brought the Avengers, it brought the MCU back. I'm gonna put it above Shang-Chi. Yeah. No. Yeah, right there. Awesome. I everything about this brought the MCU back, baby. Did everything so well for so many characters. Like it just made Yelena and Red Guardian better, more lovable, and it actually helped out with Ghost, John Walker, and mostly them too. Bucky's Bucky, but this is the most Bucky I felt that Bucky has been since like the first half of Civil War. You know what I'm saying? And then and of course, Century. I think it was done so well, dude. Everything with the mental illness, the dark side, the void, right? His power, everything about it was done so well. The only complaint is that they did Taskmaster even more dirty, which I think was the point. I think Marvel realized they've messed up, and so they just said F it and just killed her off. I don't know. I feel like They could have done something way more with her. They could have put her into this group here, but nonetheless, it's over. Um, and they are the new Avengers. And that post credit scene got me hyped up, bro. Not gonna lie. Then we get into Ironheart, and this show, it's just like I really wanted to like Ironheart. I do think a lot of people shit on it more than it deserves, but like I understand where they're coming from. It's hard to get behind. Okay, so your main protagonist, Riri Williams. I'm gonna put that there. And while I'm looking at it, I cannot in good faith put that there. I'll put it right there. But it's kind of like a Fast and Furious or like a Grand Theft Auto where your main protagonist is a criminal, right? However, it's like she doesn't learn her lesson and do the right thing in the end. And she actually ends up making a deal with the devil to get her friend back from the dead, right? And it's just so confusing. And this movie was supposed to come out like 3 years. Not movie, show was supposed to come out like 3 years ago, and they just waited 3 years to post it or upload it to Disney Plus or whatever. And I think there's a reason why. I mean, the fight scenes are fun. I think there's a lot of good moments in there, but like all in all, it just makes no sense, and it's hard to get behind a protagonist who makes a deal with the devil. Okay, the literal devil. I do like what's his name? The devil. The it starts with the M. It's on the tip of my tongue. Fucking. It's not manifest. Manifesto. It might be that. I don't remember. I do like his performance. I thought his moments brought like this air of like charisma to it. Didn't care for the bad guy. Didn't care for all those other characters. Um, that's really all I have to say about it. Not gonna lie. And then we get to our final option, the Fantastic Four, and I haven't seen it. Listen, I lost my job, so I didn't have like a lot of extra money to go watch this movie. I didn't go see Superman either. I need to. I want to see them both. I've only heard good things about it, but I haven't seen it, so that's on me. My bad. I want to watch it, but this is my tier list. Just looking at everything. Uh, yeah, I pretty much agree with all this. I mean, it's not much else. There's a lot of good stuff here and a lot of bad stuff here as well, especially here recently. But there's been a couple of highlights in there. Um, but that being said, that's my tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry it took me like 3 days to record this. I kept getting like tired. Waking up early to work a 5 a.m. shift isn't fun. That's what I've done all week. It's why the uploads have been a lot slower this week. My apologies. I'll do my best to get back to it and get on it and all that great stuff, though. Hope you guys like and subscribe and all that great stuff. Social medias will be down in the description. And I hope you guys have a great day, a great night, a great morning, whenever you're watching this, and all that great stuff. And I guess I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day. Peace.